You are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
Come on down, bitches. This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. That is Evo. It is Tuesday night, and we have a week of football to recap. Some things went well. Some things didn't. Evo, I know you were happy. I was pissed off. I think a lot of people on the internet figured out that I was pissed off as well. Tweet blew the fuck up. But man, it was a good week of football, as long as you were a Browns fan. But with that, I'm here. Evo, welcome in, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. I would say that it's obviously not good if you're a Browns fan, but 50% of the league right now is in shambles because we all like to knee-jerk based off of week one, right? The season is over, or you're drinking copium, or on the other half of the spectrum, like, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. So if you're not able to temper your expectations that it was week fucking one, then yeah, you're going through emotional turmoil right now.
I was going through a lot of emotional turmoil. We're gonna get there, but so new formats of the show. Tuesday nights we are recapping everything that happened the week before. Sunday mornings we're gonna come to you guys with our picks, our bets, all of that. So before we start diving into all the week that was, some shit happened. I put out a video. I was very angry, yelling at my TV, yelling at Deshaun, yelling at the Browns. But a crazy thing has happened, and I feel like it's finally we're on the map now, homie, because we got people creating burners to call me fat. Hell yeah, dude! Enough people care to create a fucking profile so they can call me fat. Guys,
and for those of you that don't understand, it's the one follower and the person who joined in September that it's kind of obvious. But hey, that's pretty cool.
No shit, I'm fat. Do me a favor. Look at the bottom of our logo where it says the thickest podcast in sports. You dumb bitch. It's not on accident. That's why it's there. But hey, shout out Sir Cynical. Appreciate you for being that first one, baby.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's nice to be on the map.
Hell yeah. With that, we ready to start diving into some football, brother?
Yeah, for sure, man. It was definitely an interesting week one. Obviously, our these normal Tuesday shows, we're going to go over the previous week, how we did betting and everything. And we're also going to, go over the Thursday night matchup that will be on for the week. So that way, if you want to put in bets for that game, it's available to you. And then you'll see us on Sunday mornings prior to the actual start of the game. So that way you can get our betting takes, our hot takes on the individual matchups and whatnot. So I guess this is probably a good time for us to go over how our week one went, which was not fantastic for us, either in fantasy football or in gambling. I mean, I had a pretty decent bet going on Sunday, and it was unfortunately ruined by your Browns dropping the game.
Yeah.
I had like a 7-leg parlay, and that was the one leg I missed. So it was a rough one. But gambling wise, in general, for our picks, not great. A lot of red on there.
A lot of red. I started out the week hot as fuck and went cold real fast. Had to wait for the Lions to come and give me a reprieve because I was getting smacked. And we were close on so many of them, man. I thought for sure Dolphins would cover. The Titans had it until their quarterback just made an unbelievable mistake. We'll talk about that. There were some games that I thought for sure Texans thought we're going to get it. Couldn't. Colts better than I thought. But 6-10 on the week. Got to improve. I need to start. We need to both start off on a good week, on a good note this week with Thursday. But we don't need to keep this up there too much longer because I don't want to keep seeing all that red.
Yeah, look, man, it's like the new kickoff rule, or apparently like lining up on the offensive line if you're a tackle. The NFL is hard on you this year if you're a fucking tackle, and understanding where the fucking belt line is. And I honestly don't know how this benefits football. It's ridiculous. It's actually, we might as well get into that a little bit right now. So many penalties were called on tackles who were apparently lined up too far back, and it has to do with the belt line. But I think that the rule, look, if it's egregious, if a tackle is 2 feet back of where the center's lined up, it makes sense. Yeah, that's a flag. And the NFL basically made it a priority to penalize this. But there's different types of tackle stances, and you are hurting other tackles and benefiting some. You got a Lane Johnson who is very heavy forward leaning in his stance. So his helmet, that face mask, is going to meet the belt line more often than not. Whereas, what is it, Juwan Taylor, like he's more upright. Or no, Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley is so very upright. And so he has to now set differently. For anyone who was a lineman, an offensive lineman, a lot of times the tackle sets up based off of the inside foot of the guard. Now you can't do that anymore. You are setting up, having to look at a completely different spot. The whole, receivers looking over at the ref and throwing their down. Am I good? That's going to start happening to the fucking tackles. It's a little egregious because the matter of inches, it's not making that big of a difference, especially not against
calling it way too tight.
A Watt. It's not going to make a fucking difference. Either he has your number or he doesn't. So I think the NFL probably needs to take a look at this and tone it down real fucking quick. But yeah, fuck loads of penalties this week. Some weird and interesting scores, some that were absolutely not predicted. Bengals. And it's going to be fun to go over what we saw in this last week of football.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Are you ready to start rolling through these games?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can start off with Friday's game. We put out a quick little release on that and then talked very, very minor bits about it on our Sunday show. But Packers and the Eagles down in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Terrible field, a real sloppy game, which I think is why the score ended up being as high as it was, because teams were just playing sloppy. Lots of penalties again. But the Eagles do come out ahead. Saquon has a phenomenal game after slipping and falling on his face on the first play. If you go and look at the tweets that came out right after that play from the Giants fans.
Giants fans were like ecstatic, thinking he sucks dick now, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah, there's been a lot of false narratives pushed around by Giants fans. It's defense mechanisms. You and I know this from our your previous career and my current, but like they're trying to make themselves feel a little better for not having one of the better running backs in the league, saying like, oh, he's washed up. He was a terrible pick for us. He never really did anything. Well, he struggled to do a ton, and he was still a very good back in the league, but he struggled to do what you would expect from him because he didn't have a team around him. That's like, and he showed with a team around him, he can be very, very fucking dangerous. 3 touchdowns from Saquon, pretty impressive. But I think the biggest takeaway from this game has to surround the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. Right there at the end of the game, Jordan Love looked what I thought originally was an ankle injury because his ankle was kind of turned sideways. But as you watch the replay of the video, you can actually see the knee kind of pop. And people obviously think the worst at first. And it's not like it's a good situation, but it sounds like it's an MCL injury. One that could be a 3 to 6 week timetable for return. And as of, I believe, today or yesterday, the Packers are not placing
Not
Jordan
on
Love
the
on
IR.
IR.
Yeah, not on the IR is a big deal. That means they think that he can be back in that short time frame, 3 weeks, so they don't have to lose him for 4. I mean, it looks bad. Like you see the knee move, everything shifts. I hope that the injury is minor. Um, we can also talk about Jordan Love in that game, inaccurate with the ball a lot. I mean, put up some decent stats, sure, looking at it, especially compared to across the league. Stats weren't terrible, but the ball placement was really bad. But that's also conditions in Brazil were really bad. Um, so I don't know. Don't rush him back because he didn't play great in that first game. So don't rush him back quicker to uh really fuck him up. I feel like if you rush him in this 3-week time frame, you're playing a dangerous game. But they very clearly seen that's what they are planning on. And it's only going to be 3 weeks because if it was 4 or more, you just put him on the IR, you bring another guy on. That helps your teammate. I mean,
Yeah.
helps your whole fucking team out.
Yeah, in my opinion, this move is not really a smart one. And it's easy for me to say that as a Vikings fan, but I'm trying to play this as objective as possible here. You have a guy that you just paid a large amount of money to be your franchise quarterback. He is not a rookie, but he's a guy essentially coming off of what is like his rookie year, where he had a lot of ups and downs. Some people think that it was great by the end. Obviously, I'm on the other side of that. I thought that statistically great, and they had some wins, but I think while he got better, he still has a lot of holes in his game. And I think we saw a lot of those holes again in this game. The accuracy stuff, it's tough listening to the tropes from uh, the analysts who are calling the game saying like, "Oh, Christian Watson didn't catch this ball because he slipped in the end zone." No, like there was no slip when they show the replay. As they're saying it, he doesn't slip on his cut, and it's just thrown too far ahead of him. And you're seeing a lot of other ball placement issues. Reed had generally a walk-in touchdown early on in the game in that first half on a slant around the 10-yard line, and Reed was catching around the 5. Jordan Love put the ball down towards his feet. Reed had to go down to get it and immediately went down because he had to go down to get the ball. Whereas if he had been in the chest or up closer to his arms, he might have popped off a defender that was crossing towards him in the front and gone right into the end zone. Chances are, I believe that would have been a touchdown. And in the game like this, where they lose by 5 points, a touchdown absolutely matters.
Well,
I think you still saw a lot of those issues.
Quarterbacks got a lot. There were a lot of quarterbacks that were getting excuses made for them all weekend, and that happened to be one of those times, man. Like, because the conditions were bad for sure, but the play you're talking about, that was it was a bad ball. Like, we got to start saying when things are bad, like, and just call spades. Like, if it's bad, it's bad. And that was a bad throw. Listen, Jordan Love has arm talent. I worry about his ball placement. I don't know if his accuracy is ever going to develop, even though I know that it can because we've seen Josh Allen do it. What steps is he taking to improve that? Because the ball placement is still really bad. It was bad last year, but he was getting bailed out a lot. He gets bailed out a lot now. Like, that shit comes back to bite you. If he cleans that up, he could be really good because he has arm talent. But his inability to put the ball where it needs to be is like glaring.
Well, and that's the thing is that
Here,
yeah, he's actually going to get hurt, and I think that's definitely a possibility. So I didn't see him as being a clutch quarterback at this point in his career. I mean, sometimes guys just have it, sometimes they take a little bit to develop it, but we saw it last year that in close games late down the stretch when they needed to come back from behind to win, he didn't do it. I don't believe he did it once. And see, I don't think he has that clutch gene, and part of that is the mental. Like, he is filling some big shoes in Green Bay. If you're a fan of the quarterbacks that they've had up there, he's filling big shoes, especially in the national spotlight, being compared to Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, things like that. And mentally, that's got to be difficult. And by the end of last year, I think he probably had a little bit of moxie going for him, feeling good about himself because he's getting a lot of positive press and everything from the media, and his team's winning games and they get in the playoffs. And now he comes out here and he doesn't look good this first game, and he gets injured. Now, coming back from this injury, you, I, I don't know about you, but anytime that I had an injury, you aren't trusting that injury right away. My knee, when I blew my knee out, I tried my ass off to come back way too early, and I could tell even while I was running, like I didn't trust it. And so he's going to be having this injury. I don't know if he's going to trust it going out there, but the chance of re-injury has to be fucking huge, even with the brace
Right.
on. And if Green Bay really thinks that he is their guy, and
They gave him the money that says he is.
if they really think that they have a chance to win this year, what's the difference between 3 games and 4 games? Not a whole lot. Like, if you think you have a chance in the North, you IR them. You go out and you bring a guy in like Tannehill, who they've been in talks with,
Right.
or you call up Clifford and you make the team a little bit better in the moment because Malik Willis probably isn't the answer there. The guy's thrown like what, 18 passes? Like, not a whole lot in his NFL career. And look, we can't base that last couple plays of what type of passer he's
Yeah.
going to be, but he was never known as being a prolific passer coming out of college or anything. There's a reason why he got drafted high and then traded real quick because he's probably not that great.
Well, and
But
drafted high is very like he was a third round guy. Like,
right, drafted high for his draft.
yeah.
Um, but
For
the
that,
point being is like, if you IR short-term IR Jordan Love, you can bring him back after 4 weeks. If he needs a little bit more time, you leave him on there longer. Like,
Great.
you do your franchise guy who's supposed to be there for a decade, do him a solid. If you think you got a chance this season, you want him healthy for the end of the season. If you roll him out there in week 4 after coming off this injury, and by week 8 he's out again for the rest of the year, your season is completely tanked. I feel like it is a bad move by the Packers to try to push this. I don't know that they're in a window. I feel like they think they are, but I don't know if they're in a window, especially
why?
the way that he looked after this game. And even if you are, like, the smart move for your player would be put him on the IR, get him the rest that he needs until he's ready to go. So it's kind of a shitty move in my mind by the Packers. Not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the Packers. I know how you feel about the Packers. So do you want to stop ranting about them? We can go talk about that next game where I can talk about the fact that the Steelers won somehow.
Yeah, for sure. I can rant about this one too. And otherwise, we got the Steelers and the Falcons being played out there in Atlanta, where it seemed like there was more Steelers fans than Falcons fans, despite having what, like $4 glizzies, like great prices on stuff.
Yeah,
there.
dude,
Good
they
job,
do
Arthur Blank.
prices right out there. So we actually did a study on like this stuff in my like first sports entertainment class. That was like one of the things that they brought up was concession prices and what Arthur Blank does. They do that's awesome what they do. Affordable prices if you take your family to a game. Their tickets, I have no idea.
I mean, I'm sure that their tickets are probably like league average. They go up and down depending on how good the team is and their opponent and blah, blah, blah. But either way, like, great on Arthur Blank for doing that, for having great prices on concessions and whatnot. But obviously it helped draw in some Steelers fans, which apparently there's a good Steelers presence down there because a lot of them showed up and they were allowed because the Falcons did not play good at all. Kirk Cousins, ungodly terrible.
Like, he was fucking atrocious.
Not the worst quarterback this week by any means, but it was terrible. And look, this goes back to the injury thing. Remember what I said about not trusting your injury?
Mm-hmm.
He did not plant well on that ankle at all. It was called out a lot by national pundits after the game. Looked like he wasn't planting, but also schematically, I don't know what the Falcons were thinking.
Bro,
he went all completely out of the shotgun and the pistol. Guess what Kirk Cousins didn't do in Minnesota? Shotgun or pistol. He was terrible out of it.
Fucking play action.
He was terrible out of it. And for some reason, the Falcons decided to do that. And I think I know why. It's because that ankle ain't 100%. You want to give him an extra little bit of space back off the line and time.
Oh.
The ankle ain't right.
Conspiracy theories. Here we go, baby. I
don't think it's a conspiracy. He wasn't planting on it well. He was ginger with it. And now they're giving him pistol and play action, or not play action, pistol and shotgun that he's not good out of. It's not a good recipe. You had one basically good drive where he was able to get Pitts in the end zone. But beyond that, that game was over with because TJ Watt was slaughtering that fucking team. Multiple fumbles that were called back. Only one of them stood, I believe, because of penalties. But TJ Watt had McCrary's number. Like they were doing nothing to help that right tackle.
Yeah, that theme of the fucking weekend again. Yeah,
now Justin Fields is there starting, and he's going to continue starting apparently.
Yeah, so the Steelers are going to win with defense. They're going to run the ball. And you know what? Justin Fields was not spectacular. Didn't have to be. Fucking 17 to 23 and 156. That is all that team needs from him right now because that team plays really good opportunistic defense. They turn the ball over like crazy in Pittsburgh. So that's why they can play that way. The running game I thought was interesting. We didn't see hardly any Jaylen Warren in this game.
Yeah,
so
it was
Jaylen Warren fantasy owner. You're probably like, what the fuck is going on with this new offense? Cordero Patterson saw the field more than Jaylen Warren did.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Arthur Smith is definitely known for using not just a single back. Like he runs a platoon, definitely runs a split, but Warren still wasn't used very much, and it was more Najee Harris, which if you're a Najee Harris owner, you love, but you expected to see a little bit more diversity there. Another interesting Fields is, did you see the throw plot breakdown for him by any chance?
I did not see it.
It was like one pass to the middle in the hashes. The rest were on the outside. It was crazy. Like the middle of the field is lava if you're Jalen Hurts.
I know that game plan. Fucking Browns did the same one.
Mm-hmm. And it was crazy. Look, the Steelers defense, I think, is relatively legit. Some questions in the secondary, but is relatively legit. And TJ Watt can wreck a fucking game. And I would venture to believe he has one hell of a chip on his shoulder for not getting Defensive Player of the Year last year. And he's put the NFL on notice right now. Because the way that he played that game, he looked like the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he wants it. He needs that again. I understand.
Yeah. Other things for the Falcons,
for sure.
Falcons offense. If you are a Bijan owner in fantasy, you should be a little bit happy because of the workload that he got. He got plenty of workload over Tyler Algier, but they have to figure out how to get that line working better and how to get that expensive ass quarterback working better. My favorite meme out there right now is which rookie quarterback had the best week one, and it's Michael Penix smiling. Like, yeah. He looks like he could be a lot better there right now.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, he's a good player. He's plays for the Steelers, but I can't. The man is good at football.
He's really fucking good.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Cardinals and Bills. This was a relatively close one. Bills ended up winning 34-28. And apparently Kyler Murray didn't know that they drafted a top flight rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, because he didn't fucking look for him.
Didn't target him. Like insane. And there's plays out there where he's wide ass open, and it's wide open. Let's throw it to 5'8" Greg Dortch. Like who's covered? Look, I believe that's going to get corrected.
It's going to have to.
You're going to look back at the film, and Kyler's going to be like, "Ah, shit. I really should have been paying attention. Hit this dude." But there's some good things from that Cardinals offense. Obviously, Connor had himself a decent game. Kyler Murray
looks fast as shit.
Yeah, he just tried to get his pass.
Dude, he looks quicker than he was before. He was out of the pocket like a fucking flash, dude. Mm-hmm. He looked like he was on a mission. He played pretty damn well.
But you know who else was on a mission? Motherfucking Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He was like, no one else is going to do it. All right, I'm going to take the team, put him on my back. And against this Cardinals defense, you can do that.
Yeah, Cardinals defense is terrible.
Yeah.
They've been terrible for a while.
That was one of my predictions, right? Cardinals are going to have one of the worst defenses in the league, but also a top 10 offense, I believe, or something like that, which is absolutely possible. If Kyler is able to get MHJ in there and working, we're going to see some good things from that offense.
But, I mean, you talk about putting the team on your back. Josh Allen, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Distributed the ball, efficient with the ball. Like, that's exactly what you needed because they were down for a while in this game. They come back, are able to get that score right before half, which was huge for them. And then they're able to hold off. Kyler, I think, is going to have a good year. Their offense is going to be explosive. Cardinals players are going to be fun to have in fantasy football. MHJ will probably get there at some point, but just not yet. But the Bills look bad early, good late. Are we expecting a good Bills team this year? I kind of think they're going to be in the middle.
Yeah, I think that of the teams that are considered to be top contenders from the AFC, the one that has the easiest path to a flop is the Bills. They're the one that scared, like, as far as windows closing, it feels like the Bills. If they're able to keep that offense churning without having some receiving talent like Stephon Diggs there, then they might be able to figure it out. And look, they looked better ever since they got rid of their OC last year. Maybe they continue to look good without that OC there. I don't know. More on that OC later.
God damn it, dude. It's fucking one after another. Just, oh my God.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up we have the Titans and the Bears. Kind of a shitty game. Definitely not a great one for Caleb Williams. It was a, hey, guess what? This isn't preseason anymore.
Yeah, Caleb was nervous as fuck. Dude, you could see it. So I went back. I watched this whole fucking thing because I wanted to see how Caleb did. Nervous as shit early. I got my handy dandy little notebook with all my notes. He is so good in the pocket, dude. He moves so good in the pocket. Now, he was sailing balls early. Started to catch a nice little rhythm in the second half, though. But I think that first start, that's why we saw things sail really high. Tennessee's offense, dude, is going to be fun. They got some guys like Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Traylon Burks. The running back group is not bad in Tajay Spears, and they just got, what the hell's his name? Tony Pollard. Like, and they were running some cool things, a lot of motion, a lot of end around type shit, using their speed. The only thing that has to happen is Will Levis has to not fuck it up because he played fucking awful, dude. He might have had a worse day than Deshaun did. That bitch was spraying all over the place, and then he makes one of the worst decisions that a quarterback can make. I think he threw that bitch with his left hand. I'm not sure. But it had no shot at getting there. And it's pick six, game-winning touchdown. It was atrocious, dude.
And Levis knew it too immediately because he went down on his knees
with the red Copeland and all.
Crying scorpion. Like it, just down. It was rough there. Because the Titans were winning that game. The Bears defense is what kept them in that game. And look, the Bears defense, I think they're going to be solid, man. They got some fucking dudes on there. They held the Titans to 17 points. And the only reason the Bears won was because of that defense getting some opportunistic fucking turnovers and touchdowns and special teams plays and stuff like that. Like, Bears defense is going to be good. And then once Caleb Williams figures it out a little bit, calms down, and he's got the weapons out there. Yeah, Rome Odunze is going to be week to week, but he's got weapons there for sure.
Him and Keenan Allen need to get some more work. They need to get on the same page. But when that happens, that's going to be a really nice connection for him.
Yeah. The only thing that I hope happens here is, and we talked a lot about Caleb and where his mental is in this game.
Right.
He's taking this way too much as like, hey, it's a win. I did it. Like, you didn't do it. Your defense did it. But there's a lot of like, we did it. I don't care how it happened. We did it. And I feel like he's taking that too much in his ego, being like, I did it. And maybe we paint our nails less and we focus on playing quarterback a little bit more. And then once you get good, and then you can worry about putting the Bears on your nails or whatever.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about the nails. But being ecstatic with a win is great. Being happy with your performance is another thing. I mean, a 23.5 QBR is really bad. 14 of 29 is really bad. But I think that his nerves really fucked up at least his whole first quarter, dude. if you go back and watch, you see everything sail. As he settles in, those numbers are going to improve. Sure, he's happy. First start, first win, first rookie in God knows how long to get that first win in week 1. We talked about it on our Sunday show. But, yeah, it was not a great game from him. He's happy about the win, though.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, my quarterback, I would want them to be probably overcritical. I prefer a guy to be overly critical of themselves in a situation like that. I like, hey, I'm happy we got the win. Our defense really fucking killed it out there. But look, I have a lot of stuff to clean up. Like, that's all I want to hear from you, to be honest. And like, whether or not he did have stuff to clean up, like, that's kind of what I want to hear, because the offense was not churning in that game, and it starts with him. So, like, a lot of weapons there. The future looks bright, but it was not necessarily a bright game other than on that defensive and special team side of the ball. So,
all right.
Next up, interesting here, Patriots and Bengals. One that I did not have in my bingo card. Patriots walk into Cincinnati and win 16-10. Now, T. Higgins out this game. We talked about how Joe Burrow likes to start slow. Well, wasn't expecting to start this fucking slow. Jamar Chase, 6 catches, 62 yards. Congrats to Gerard Mayo and his squad. They went out there, ground and pound, lots of run yards. I believe they had 39 rushes in that game, which is a lot.
It is.
Stevenson, 120 yards on 25 carries and a touchdown. Like, it was a ground and pound game for him, and that's why it was a 16-10 game. But they were able to go out there and get the win. And how fucking embarrassing is it for them to walk into Cincinnati and be splashing their coach in game 1 with Gatorade? Like, that was their Super Bowl, baby, because that might be their last win of the year.
It very well could be, but I don't think so. Because I also got some notes on this game. Ramondre I think he might win the rushing title this year. That is the best he has looked at any point in his career. If they can find a way to become remotely competent in the pass game with Jacoby Brissett and work play action, that offensive line was dominant over that Bengals defensive line. They got anything they wanted up front, and he was picking holes. So good, dude. Bouncing off tackles. He is a fucking dog. If you got Ramondre in fantasy, you're going to be very happy. Go back and, if you're a Browns fan, go watch that Bengals game. It'll make you feel a little bit better about how bad we played, because they played terrible as well.
Well, I think that he's a good play, maybe not for PPR leagues, but volume-wise, we know that he's the dude there. He's going to get yards. He's going to get touchdowns, but he's going to get run into the fucking ground. Do I think the Patriots are as bad as I originally projected? No, but I still think that they're pretty fucking bad. I just think the Bengals were unprepared, and I think that defense is nowhere near as good as people think that it's going to be. Lou Anarumo, like, his light is going out. It was hot 2 years ago, and last year was not good, and it's getting worse this year. I think this is a little bit more of a case of, like, the Bengals did not come to play. We're not prepared. They basically are looking at weeks 1 through 4. It's a trend now. Like, they're not ready for the beginning of the year, and it's not just Joe Burrow. So
is that the coach?
That is on the coach. That's on the coach at that point, 100%. And
if they miss the playoffs this year, are they talking about a coaching change in Cincinnati?
If they miss the playoffs,
yeah, that's a lot of talent, a lot of money they're shelling out as well.
Maybe. I mean, it's tough to walk away from, what they have, because he's obviously shown to be good, but, like, they need a little bit of culture change there, a little more grit. You think of that, Anarumo would be able to bring some of that, but I'm not seeing it. And the way that it's trending is kind of scary. Also, they went away from the run so fucking quick. You got a couple guys that can run the ball, and they immediately went away.
I know.
And then
used a lot more touches.
And then the pass game just was not happening. And I think, unfortunately, like, I like Andres Yasovius, their third wide receiver. I think that he can be a good complement piece to this team. If T. Higgins is out there, Yasovius is going to have a damn good year. But being the number 2 guy, like, it is a drop off. And when he's getting the sort of coverage that T normally would be getting, it's not going to work out too well. And then Jamar Chase, he didn't practice a whole lot this offseason. Apparently had illness. There's a lot of reasons to be like, yeah, this is why this game went this way. But also, the team was not fucking prepared. So are the Bengals going to be good? Probably. Give them a couple weeks. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Like, we
I
need
don't know,
to.
man. I have a bet that doesn't look great now, considering what the Browns did in week 1. But it also was contingent on the Bengals sucking and missing the playoffs, which I think is still a very real possibility. I might hit half of this parlay.
Yeah. Well, next one. Texans and Colts. We talked about how they split their games last year, how they played competitive against each other, despite the Colts being kind of viewed as a lesser team. This game went down towards the end. 29-27, Texans eke out the win there. A good game from CJ Stroud, a really good game from Joe Mixon, but also a real solid game from Anthony Richardson, too.
Yeah, so the numbers are interesting when you look at 9-19, but when you watched what he did, it was special. Like, he missed a lot.
Yeah.
But when he hit, it went big. Chunk yardage, or he was ripping off runs. I mean, in his QBR tells you as much. 87.5. Like, when he had to be good, he was good. It wasn't all the time, but they were explosive plays. If he finds a rhythm, and we talked about this, we thought it was going to be a little bit like his rookie year, because he didn't get a lot. We're going to see these bumps and bruises, but once he figures this out, man, it's going to be it's going to be a dogfight every year between Stroud and Richardson.
Yeah, and we talked about how Richardson, the deep ball, is kind of his go-to as far as passing game right now, and you definitely saw that. Again, 9 of 19, but in those 9 passes, getting 212 yards and 2 touchdowns, like, those are big chunk yardage plays. Alex Pierce had a 60-yarder. Ashton Doolin, sorry, I don't know who the fuck you are, but 1 catch for 54 yards and a touchdown. Like, he's slinging the ball deep. He's getting some chunk yardage plays, and then the rest of the team is playing well with him. So, like, it was a dogfight in this game. Not something that you want to see if you're a huge Houston Texans fan, other than the fact that you got the win, but you would hope that you'd be able, like, hey, we're going to take a step up this year and be way better.
If
They were
I'm the
good.
Texans, I'm very excited about the way we fucking ran the football,
Sure.
because I don't have to put it all on CJ Stroud, even though I know I can put it all on CJ Stroud and he can carry my team. If I don't have to, as a team, they ran at 5.3 yards a clip, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that is impressive numbers, over 200 yards. That offense is going to be insane because they distributed the ball. They ran the ball. If I'm a Houston Texans fan, I love what my offense did. I have some concerns about big plays allowed by my defense, but the offense is spectacular.
Look, I think that they're going to get that defensive stuff fixed. It is still early in the year, but it comes down to offense in this league most of the time. And look, real balanced offense, like you said. 32 pass attempts, 234 yards. 40 rushing attempts, 213 yards. Again, 159 of those for Mixon. Like, they're spreading the ball around. They're playing good complementary play on that offense. And Nico Collins goes out there, balls out again, 6 catches, 117 yards. And Diggs is out there catching touchdowns, not a ton else, 33 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Like, he's having himself a great day too. So, like, again, I think the Texans are one of those strong teams in the AFC, one to watch. They still have stuff to clean up, but this is week 1. Just goes to show you, I think, more than anything, Colts have some life to them. And when you're going and you're playing in the Loud House, they're going to play. They're going to ball. All right. So, not someone to write off the Colts, but I don't think that it's their time yet. Just expect some spectacular stuff from Anthony Richardson, and if he stays healthy, he's going to have a really interesting stat line. I think it's going to mirror a lot of what we saw from Lamar Jackson early on in his career.
Yeah, probably. You'll be low 50% completion percentages, high, close to 1,000 yards rushing, probably 3,000-ish yards and 20-something touchdowns. And that's a good year when you're coming off of a missed rookie year.
All right, next up, Dolphins and Jaguars. So the first thing I guess that we got to kind of talk about here is what happened and transpired before the game.
Yeah,
right.
This fucking ridiculous, man.
Wild. And Joe Rockstar, I don't know if you're watching. I know that you have your thoughts. You posted them on the Facebook group and whatnot. And I'll be the first to say that, I support the blue. I support police, but we do have a lot of egotistical police officers who think that they aren't upholding the law, that they are the law out there. And it really seems like that kind of happened in this instance. Tariq Hill gets pulled over for a moving violation. And was Tariq Hill being as kind of a citizen to the police as he could during it? No, like he's not. But also, he has no obligation to.
It's not against the law to be a dick.
Yeah. Like, you can give the cops the finger. It's your First Amendment right. You can tell them to fuck off. It's your First Amendment right. And despite what Joe said, there are, especially in certain states, you do not have to roll down your window. You can do enough as far as giving them your ID, your license, registration, stuff like that, and not say a word to them, and that's it. Tariq rolled his window up. We've seen the body cam footage now. When they're getting him out of the car, I don't know that they needed to get him out of the car, other than for the fact that they couldn't communicate with him. But even then, opening up the door and telling him to get out, it looks like he's trying to get out.
Ripping him out.
It looks like he was preparing to get out, and they just threw him on the ground. All right. And so you've done too much there. Then the whole cop telling him to stand up. The cops aren't on the same page. You've got one that's hyper aggressive, one that's not so aggressive. Standing him off to the sidewalk, being like, okay, you can stand up, and the other cop knocking him down and be like, no, get down. He's like, hey, I had surgery on my knee. I don't know if that's fucking true or not. But they're being so aggressive. And then having another cop go up to Calais Campbell, who pulls up and is trying to contact people from the team and saying, hey, you can't be here. You got to move or else I'm going to get a ticket, or you're going to need a ticket, blah, blah, blah. And then the aggressive cop comes out of nowhere. He's like, no, give me your license now. It's over. And he's like, he just told me to leave. I'm leaving. He's like, no, not anymore. Give me your license.
Now you're dealing with me.
Yeah.
Because I have a tiny dick and a badge, so I feel like I am justified to be a fucking asshole to everybody.
Yeah. What are the odds that cop doesn't have a job by this time next week?
It fucking better be 100%. Like, there's no shot that motherfucker should keep his job. There's no way.
And
that's not it. That's not how shit works. I understand. Listen, there's some older people who are stuck in their ways. You can't change everybody. Okay. It's just not going to happen. But you cannot treat anybody like this. And then to do this to another black man is fucking outrageous. We see this shit so often, dude. It's become cumbersome to fucking see this shit because it's all the time. It's got to fucking stop. I don't understand how you make it better, because if we knew, we'd fucking do it. But we got to start just firing these motherfuckers that do this, that we see. Stop letting people who are supposed to be accountable off the fucking hook. I don't know how much more I can have that theme this week. That's why I was screaming at Deshaun on the TV, because people weren't holding him accountable. This guy has to be held fucking accountable.
Yeah. And I'm definitely one for giving people second chances and stuff like that. But when it comes down to law enforcement, yes, they are human, but they are held to a different standard. Like that, we've preached the whole defund the police thing was dumb. No, fund the police, give them better training. So more training. These sorts of things don't happen. So the bad ones get weeded out. So that
also the fucking police departments need to use that money for the right thing and not just buy military fucking equipment and actually use it for training.
Sure. Yeah, but it's like there's ways to fix these things, and there's bad apples everywhere. We need to get the ego out of it. Look, was Tyreek a perfect citizen in that situation?
No,
yeah. But at the end of the day, cops are meant to not dole out the law as they so see fit and have it be harsher for dicks. It is supposed to be the law, and you're supposed to follow it. You are held to a higher standard as a police officer. And if you make a mistake, you are held to that higher standard.
Yeah.
And that's the way that it is.
And I got no fucking sympathy. You and I were under fucking Uniform Code of Military Justice. Me at 8.5 years, you're for what, 6, right?
Just about 8.
Yeah, just about it. So higher standard of what the things you can and can't fucking do. I have no sympathy. You know the fucking rules.
Yeah.
Don't do that shit.
And I don't know if Tariq came up with that statement in his press conference on his own or if he was fed by the team. Probably fed by the team, but what if that wasn't Tariq Hill?
No, I mean,
if that's not him and he doesn't have the backing of the team and the team security and stuff like that, who are probably all former law enforcement and have direct connections with Miami-Dade police and are able to immediately contact them and get this handled and figure it out. If you are just a regular person and this happens to you, you're fucked. Unless you're able to find a good lawyer who's willing to represent you or a great public defender, you're probably the bad guy in this situation.
Yeah. Let's talk about the game. I don't want to talk about the cops no more.
Yeah. We would be remiss by not talking about it. We're not going to sugarcoat that or look over it. But on to the game. One of my few wins that I got where you didn't win this one in our bets. Dolphins win 20-17 versus the Jaguars. And I got that hook that got me the W in this one. Well, how do you think that this game went? Jaguars surprise you at all?
Surprise. No. So what I got here, good game. Offenses looked good, but Jacksonville sputtered. And it was sloppy as fuck from both teams. Jacksonville didn't surprise me. They were a decent team last year. Trevor Lawrence played okay. Nobody put up big yards this week. I'm interested to see how the Browns match up this upcoming week. Stylistically, the thing that Miami was able to do was start to use their speed to stretch them out. We have got to find a way to do that. But was I surprised by anything? No, not so much. What about you, man? What did you see in this?
I mean, it was a pretty low scoring game. That was the surprising part of it for me. I mean, when you're seeing guys Tua goes out there and still
there were so many fucking turnovers in this game, dude.
338 yards for Tua. Like, he's still putting out volume there. Trevor Lawrence is not putting out the volume, but they're still right close to one another. Turnovers, yeah. There's
2 turnovers. I'm sorry, 2 turnovers.
Yeah, two fumbles.
Fumbles, yep.
Yeah, but I mean, you want to see more from these offenses. We're not hitting bad weather yet or anything like that. The biggest thing here, I think, Devon Achane, PPR king. Like, okay, running 10 rushes for 24 yards, nothing special to write home about there, other than you got that touch.
That catches though.
He's a big part in that receiving game, so definitely he's one of those guys that I think was slept on a little bit too much in fantasy. Someone that I was hoping at looking at there in the second, third round area. But I was expecting to see a little bit more firepower from both teams in this game.
Everybody started slow, man. The entire league was low on offense this week. We've seen that 2 years in a row. Offense starts slow to start the year.
Yeah. And not a whole lot else to write about this game. Look, the Jaguars kept it nice and close. I think the Jaguars are going to be a strong AFC team this year. They're going to be one of those sleeper teams again, unless they end up getting another Trevor Lawrence injury or something like that down the stretch. But yeah, not much more for me to write off about this game.
Yeah, me either.
All right. And then we have our game of the week, Panthers versus the Saints down in New Orleans. And it was a slaughter. Saints 47, Panthers 10. When Derek Carr's throwing for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, you know your team ain't very good. Bryce Hall still does not look like the guy.
Bryce Young.
What is it, Bryce Hall?
Bryce Hall.
Yeah. He's so bad I don't even know his name.
Don't worry, he won't be around for that much longer.
Yeah, it was a rough one. It's got to really suck if you are a member of that team right now, because you're dejected after last year and you feel even more dejected because it's like, shit, it's more of the same now. Yeah, but I'll say this. If you are a fantasy player and you're looking at this game, you're like, oh, look at all this offensive production from the Saints. Don't expect that to continue. One of the stats that we brought up is like the Saints have won their last like 5 home openers. So
Good at home.
they're good at home during their home opener, but also it's kind of easy to be good at your home opener when you're playing the fucking Panthers.
I'm telling you, dude. You thought that the worst. They're gonna be the worst team in football. This was the worst quarterback fucking performance of the week. Bryce Young is not an NFL quarterback. He does not belong on a roster. He cannot be your backup either because he does not have any of the physical traits you would even think about wanting to bring in. It sucks. I hate being right about some of these things, but he's not good. No. No, I fucking wouldn't. And there's a lot of people that I would take over Deshaun Watson right now.
Yep.
Bryce Young ain't one of them.
Yep. I think we can move on from this game because there's not much to say.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
there's not much to garner from this.
10-47. The Panthers were the worst team in football. Let's go. Let's move on to the next.
There's not much to garner from this other than we don't know what the Saints are yet, but we kind of do know what the Panthers are, and they're not that good. Kind of like this next game, my Vikings versus the Giants, we win 28-6. And while I feel great about the win, I feel great about how the quarterback looked in this game. Feel great about how my defense played. I still don't know exactly what my team is. Like, we looked fundamentally sound outside of, the first couple plays where we had a fumble. That scared me. But other than that, like,
on the game starting, you guys fucking fumbled.
Yeah. But the team looked good. But also you're playing the Giants. And Danny Dimes looked atrocious. It was, God, it's got to be rough to be a Giants fan. Look, your defense is actually pretty good. We talked about this. We were texting back and forth. Dexter Lawrence is a beast in the middle. That defense has some good players on it. But when you are getting pressure, which the Giants were one of the highest pressuring teams in week 1, you have to schematically change on offense. And Kevin O'Connell was able to do that. He was able to get the ball out of Sam Darnold's hands quick. He had a much more even game than in his previous years as far as running and passing. Aaron Jones looked great out there running the ball.
Really good.
Yeah. And Addison goes down. Sounds like he's going to be week to week as well with an ankle aggravation. But look, I'm very happy with what I saw. I think the defense looked fucking great. Alex Van Ginkel looked fucking awesome. I was super happy about that addition. Got a first sack for Dallas Turner. Like, I like what I saw out of the team. But I'm a Vikings fan. I have to know we are playing the Giants here. I also have to know that everything's going to be kind of week to week. I'm not expecting the world, but we did have the number 1 rated quarterback according to PFF in week 1.
I was going to ask you, what did you think of the passing game that you saw? Because he's the highest rated, sure, but it was a very pedestrian day. Took what was there, nothing spectacular. Is that kind of what we're going to be expecting? You guys ran the ball a lot for a KOC offense.
Yeah, I think that we still don't know. There were from Darnold, and that was when his arm got hit on a throw. But we don't know what that passing offense is necessarily going to look like because they did not have to be truly attacking. Like, they were able to run the ball. They were able to take what the Giants were giving them. They didn't have to be hyper aggressive to keep getting first downs and stay in this game. When they needed to make a pass, they were able to drum something up to get that pass and get the first down. So I don't know. Like, Sam Darnold was not put in a pressure situation. Was he pressured? Yes. But a pressure situation, like, you got to make this to, your games on the line, anything like that. That's where we've talked about Sam Darnold. It's the mental stuff. Is he going to be able to get over that mental pressure? And we just don't know yet because the Giants did not put him in that situation. So no idea how that's going to turn out. It was a very pedestrian game. Sam Darnold looked like a system quarterback running easy system stuff. But I don't know that he needed to do anymore because the running game was very effective. And they were able to just take what the Giants were giving them. So kudos to my Vikings. I'm super happy about that win. This is the first time in, I believe, 5 years that we've had a win of 17 points or more. Um, all other NFL teams have had 3 or more wins by 17 points or more in that time span. So that just goes to show how we like to play our games close, despite the record over the years. So on the flip side, Giants, I think it is time to just cancel the Danny Dimes experiment. You're going to
I'd
have
rather
higher variance
this
with
week than Deshaun Watson.
you got Drew Lock and DeVito. That they're going to be much higher variance quarterbacks, but at least they're going to pass the ball more than like 5 yards down the field. I listened yesterday to sports talk radio in New York where they're talking about the game, and they were so high. They're like, "There's no way the Vikings should have won this game. We're a better team. No one picked the Vikings to win this game." I was like, "These guys are drinking the fucking Kool-Aid." Like Vegas had them winning. That like most people had them edging out the Giants because people were downplaying the Vikings because of the quarterback situation, but they were talking about the
You guys
roster
were
overall was better.
fucking favorites. What are they talking about?
Yeah, like there's too much hate on Sam Darnold.
Okay,
Except for
true.
me.
I do hate Sam Darnold. He's not very good at football.
And
it hasn't happened yet.
They were denigrating the rest of the team because of that. Like the team is a good team. We got a good team around him. It's just he looks like the guy who's getting into a race car. And me, I can get into a race car and I can drive it. But can I fucking push that thing balls to the wall, pedals to the metal?
That motherfucker though?
We'll find out. We'll find out if Sammy Darnold can do that.
Dude, I'm telling you, with this mullet, I bet you I can get behind the fucking wheel of a NASCAR.
Yep. And look, a couple questions coming in, all concerning Deshaun Watson. Knock, Amber. I'm sure we're going to get to that here before too long. All right.
God.
But either way, congrats to my Vikings. Giants, you should have fucking paid Saquon whatever he wanted, and you probably should have gone out and gotten anyone else at quarterback, even more so than Drew Lock. Like, you could have probably gone out there and competed for a Gardner or something like to put out there because Danny Dimes looked slow. He looked flustered. It wasn't a good day for him.
Them contracts are tough to get out of, I tell you what.
Yeah. Next up, Raiders and Chargers. Chargers get the win 22-10. Gardner Minshew, very, very pedestrian day. And on the Chargers, I think it's more like we forget that Harbaugh is a very disciplined coach. He is going to run a conservative run game where they will take their shots when they need to, but they're going to ground pound the ball. And that's what got them this win here. Like he is phenomenal at turning teams around. Do I think the Chargers are going to be great this year? No, but like he's going to have a lot of games where it's like his team can put up these 22 points or so and be relatively pedestrian and conservative with their game plan, and they're going to be competitive just because they play such disciplined football.
And that's what they were able to do. They were able to stick to their game plan, man. They ran the ball more than they threw it. That's a John Harbaugh offense, man. That's exactly what you expect. J.K. Dobbins had a massive day. Great for that kid coming off the injury. Like, I was really high on him coming out. Obviously, I'm a huge Ohio State fan, so I had watched him for forever. Glad he had a great day. Justin Herbert looked very meh. But the Raiders they didn't have that spark. Gardner threw for a lot of yards, but I mean, they were grasping at straws in the run game. They kept turning the fucking ball over. Harbaugh did exactly what I expected. They ran the ball. They played good defense, and they'll figure out weapons in Herbert as they go along.
Yeah, Raiders did not like their offense. While they passed the ball somewhat effectively, they didn't have any sort of like cutthroat play to him. Like Devontae gets 5 catches for 59 yards. He's your main dude. You're not utilizing him enough. Jacoby, like if you look at all the stats, no one stood out. They were all kind of the same. Jacoby Myers, 3 catches, 61 yards. Devontae, 5 for 59. Brock Bowers, 6 for 58. Alexander Madison, 4 for 43 and a tud. Like you have a bunch of guys who are putting up kind of mediocre third wide receiver, maybe second wide receiver stat lines, but no one really standing out. Gardner wasn't really attacking down the field as well as, you would hope. So they have to find a little bit more moxie in their play if they're going to be passing the ball like that.
I would imagine Devontae will want to see the lion's share of the targets going forward. Getting out targeted by a rookie tight end is not going to sit well with star number one wide receiver who should be getting the fucking rock a lot more. And has been bitching about that for the last year because the guys they brought in last year didn't do that either.
Yeah, we're going to hear more rumblings leading up to the trade deadline if we see this continuing forward of Devontae wanting out.
And he deserves more targets. He's one of the best in the fucking league.
Alrighty, next game, Seahawks and Broncos. Seahawks eke this one out after some late flurries by the Broncos, but yeah, the biggest takeaway that I got from this game is Bo Nix, was not done any favors.
Do you see how many times they made him throw the motherfucking ball?
Yeah. Sean Payton was having Bo Nix go out there constantly throw 42 attempts, 26 of those completions, and only 138 yards, 3.3 yard average. Bo Nix is exactly who we thought he was. He's a guy that is a little dunk, a little short pass game, nothing crazy down the field, 2 interceptions. And towards the end of the game, when they were like, well, this ain't fucking gonna cut it. I mean, the run game was okay for them, but when they're like, this dink and dunk thing isn't going to cut it, and they start calling a little bit deeper route patterns, what does Bo Nix do? He fucking runs. He fucking takes off. He's got some good legs on him. He went out there, had 5 rushes, 35 yards, and got a touchdown.
Out of his hand immediately on first read, he's fucking taken off. He doesn't know progressions. He doesn't sit in the pocket. These are all knocks that we had on him when he was coming out. He's not going to sit there and dissect the defense. You have to get the ball out of his hands at or near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. And for that Seattle team, good on them for putting up 26 points. Decent little run game from Kenneth Walker there. Charbonnet had some nice work in the pass game as well. But they're going to need to up things up a little bit more if you're, hanging close like that with the Broncos. 26-20, they should be playing a little bit better when the Broncos quarterback is going out there and throwing for an average of 3.3 yards.
Seattle gets it done. Doesn't fucking cover, though. That one was painful. That one really hurt, I thought, for sure, especially with the way Bo Nix played.
Yep. All right. This will be a fun one.
Fucking here we go.
Cowboys and Browns in Cleveland. And I'm just going to kind of let you take over here.
All right. Well, so it was bad. It was real bad. It was so bad that I spent extra time today and I went through and I watched the all 22. And after this live episode is over, I'm going to drop the video of film breakdown. There's a chance that we're going to get dinged with a copyright strike. I don't really give a fuck at this point because it needs to be done. It was really fucking bad all around on the offense. I went through all of the offense. I'm sorry, I take that back. I did not go through all the offense. I went through the first 3 quarters until Dallas parked the bus, essentially, because they didn't have to fucking do anything. And it's disgusting. It starts at the top. The game plan was dog shit. I don't know what the route concepts were trying to be, but it didn't make any sense. Dallas sat in cover 4, what looked like almost the entire game, and we didn't know how to beat it. We did not attack the middle of the field, which is where you need to beat cover 4. And then the times when they didn't run cover 4, they'd get into a cover 3. We were taking shots into double coverage, or if we were in single coverage, man fucking coverage, Deshaun Watson was sailing balls way out of the end zone. So the game plan was shit. We didn't understand how to attack their defense because we didn't run hardly shit to the middle of the field. When we did run route concepts to the middle of the field, Deshaun missed. Flat out missed or was late as shit with the ball because he holds the ball too long. The offensive line was atrocious. DeJuan Jones might have played the worst game by an offensive tackle that I've ever fucking seen, dude. At one point, a linebacker walks up and shows blitz and then bails out of blitz. And they are in 5 wide. DeJuan Jones as the right tackle, no help because we're in 5 wide, chases after the blitzer that bailed out and completely left Micah Parsons, unguarded, who goes up, tips it, and that's where the first interception of the game is. I don't know what the fuck we were looking at, what we were thinking. Nobody was on the right page, plain and simple. And then there's the series that really is when I started to get hot. Second quarter, second drive. Deshaun does a great job of escaping. The tackle's bad. Tough throw, doesn't get it. Play after that. Okay, they have been sitting in cover 4 at this point for basically a quarter. And the ball, I don't know where it's going. I don't think he knows where it's going. It's over Elijah Moore. It's at Amari Cooper's feet, and there's 3 dudes around. Following that, had an opportunity to take a shot, does not climb the pocket, so does not help his tackles out because the tackles were bad, but it was not all the tackle's fault. Does not climb at all and walk and just stands there to be sacked. It was so frustrating, man. Like the offense missed everything. And Njoku going down really hurt. A couple of the nice plays that we did have was when we were able to find Njoku kind of in that middle of the field over the linebackers in front of the safeties, which is where we needed to attack Dallas in that cover 4. But Deshaun would not step up into the pocket. And I don't know if that's out of just nerves or what it is, but he also doesn't have any zip on the ball. That shoulder's not right. It's not right. I can tell you that right now. I saw Deshaun throw last year. He threw with some zip. Deshaun can still throw the ball deep. Yes, sure. Those balls that he has to drive in the middle of the field, he is laboring to get them there. I bring it up in the film session. There was no good part of the offense whatsoever. It was atrocious. The defense, they were set up to fail. When you're on the field as much as they had to be, of course they're going to give up points. Did they play great? No, there was a couple good moments, but there were a couple really bad moments. Like we run a 0 blitz and the safety for some reason is expecting help when we're in a fucking 0 blitz and it's just a nice, easy catch to Brandon Cooks in the end zone. Where's our eye discipline? Kevin Stefanski did not have these guys ready at all to fucking play. Deshaun played like shit. The line played like shit. It was bad from top to fucking bottom. We got beaten all 3 phases. Start the fuck over. And if we can't get better quarterback play, we need to move on. Plain and simple. We cannot do this again. I wrote the article back in fucking March about the substandard quarterback play, and that is continuing to be what we see. We have seen quarterbacks come in here and be able to make this kind of work even while throwing a fuckload of picks. Like, we have a guy on the roster that can do that, and maybe we'll win some fucking games. But we cannot win with the Deshaun Watson that we had this last Sunday. That dude doesn't play in the NFL anymore. That dude can't play in the NFL anymore. It was not good enough. It's got to be so much better, and I'm not sure that that's ever coming back, bro. I don't know that it is.
And I felt bad because from my lofty high mountain of a win that we had, I was texting you during that game, and I felt bad because I was like, am I being the asshole to be like, dude, what the fuck is Deshaun Watson doing? Why is it like 3rd and 10 and he's throwing the check down? Like, or obvious plays. And again, like I felt bad because I didn't feel like I was picking on you, but I was like asking you, like, why is he doing so bad? Like, what the hell are they thinking here? And I'm gonna pick on you a little bit more. He has it. I still don't. If you, this is probably going to be a clip right here. If you had to sit here and say, who do you want to be your quarterback today, Deshaun Watson or Sam Darnold? I'd probably say Sam Darnold because I think he's a better quarterback. I do. I think he's got a better arm at this point.
Are you fucking high?
Not at all. Not at all. Because I think Deshaun Watson is washed.
Good find. Listen, I have not been bashing Deshaun, so everybody on the internet is fucking up my ass about this. I believe that he could maybe there was a shot, but at no point has that been proven right at all. And this is the worst he's ever played. It's the worst he's ever played. Good pull on that, though, homie. Based on, I would literally have to take Sam Darnold now. Based on the eye test, this week you would go Sam Darnold because I don't know. Did you watch? Right? It was so bad, dude. Like Bryce Young, who has no physical traits to be in the NFL, was worse, and Danny Dimes, a guy that is I'm not sure he ever had a fucking prime. Like Deshaun was good at one point, but those days are gone, man. I'm sorry, guys. Those fucking days are gone. It sucks. But here's the thing. I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to make me look like a fucking asshole because that means that we're good and we're winning. I'm okay with that. It's not illegal to be an asshole. So I would love for that to be the case. I just don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to happen, man.
Yeah. Like I said, I do think that he is washed, but it's a lot of if you watch your video that you put out on Twitter that gained a little bit of traction out there, a lot of the naysayers to what you were saying on there are making excuses. The team was bad here, the team was bad there, and they're not incorrect, but
they were bad.
You have other teams, other quarterbacks, and like you brought up last year, some of the same situations and issues where you have quarterbacks come in and are able to make more out of the situation. Deshaun, as a professional quarterback being paid that amount of money, is expected to be able to come in and deal with pressure.
I don't even
and
care
make good
about the money.
decisions.
So 3 first-round picks. That's 3 years worth of talent not added to this team.
Yeah, and he doesn't. My fear is that he doesn't have any driving force to be good. He's got the guaranteed money if he keeps it, and future litigation and stuff here doesn't.
On that. We don't know shit about that. I'm not part of the Justice Department. If it's true, I hope the fucking book is thrown. But
like you expect a guy to be able to come out and do that. He did not look the part, and I don't know that he's got any drive to be better. Right now, publicly, he's not at necessarily his all-time low, but he's not that much higher, so the difference really isn't there.
Brother, he might be at rock bottom right now. I got to tell you, everybody in Cleveland has turned on him. Listen, the OTC guys, we love those guys on this show. We love having them on. They're big Deshaun Watson fans. I am not, like, especially now. We got to call it what it is. It's not. It's over. It's just not there.
I just don't know that. Like, he could go out and say my elbow hurts and not play another snap.
Yeah, he absolutely could.
Like guaranteed money. Like, I don't know that he cares. A lot of guys go out there with pride, being like, regardless of the contract, I want to show that I'm like the best in the NFL. And I don't know that Watson has any drive to do that anymore. Because
apparently they wanted to pull him out of this last game, but he wanted to stay in. Sure, there's some moxie there, but like if it's not working, Kevin's got to fucking be the head coach and yank him.
If he becomes what he could have been in his prime, a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and he's actually being talked about in that realm, he's still not going to be viewed in that same realm because of his history now. Like, people will overlook a lot of that, but he's also going to have a lot of people, same way that Roethlisberger never dropped all of the negatives that he had off the field. Deshaun never will either, and it's going to somewhat tarnish him, probably more than Roethlisberger. So, like, at the end of the day, you can go out there and as an individual, I can go out there and be impeccable. I can be the best on the field, and I'm never going to be considered one of the greats because of everything else. I don't have anything to play for. I already have the bag. Like, I don't have to play another down of football. I can just get massages for the rest of my life.
And I knew there had to be one massage reference in there.
Well, I mean, like, realistically, it's
it's true. Like, he doesn't have to do anything.
I feel like he doesn't feel beholden.
The only contracts in the world that you can't get out of.
I feel like he doesn't feel beholden to Cleveland. I don't feel like he feels connected to Cleveland at all. I feel like he feels like I'm there to just get this contract. I got this contract, and I don't really care. That's
the last week here on social media has not helped that for sure. But the way the reports out of camp were that Deshaun Watson looked really good by the team, by the fucking Cleveland media that were spinning this narrative that he looked really good. If he did, I want to know where the fuck that went. because it doesn't look like he knew what the fuck was going on at all.
Yeah. It was terrible play from Deshaun. Not a great performance from the rest of the Browns team.
No,
Got to figure that out, and it's going to make it
bad.
It's going to make it interesting looking at future games for this team because I think myself and a lot of people thought that they were going to be competitive. They got a taste of what winning was, and was a taste enough where now they're going to kind of fall off, or how is this going to play out? I don't know, because you guys have a lot of talent on that team,
ton of talent, and it sucks because we're wasting years of Myles Garrett's career.
All right, we'll move off that one, I suppose.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm fucking have a heart attack. By the way, everybody, I'm always this way. Like, this is my normal. So don't worry about me actually having a heart attack. I'm always turned up this fucking loud.
Next game, we got the Commanders and Buccaneers. And I guess this is kind of a little bit of a shank in the side for you, too. Baker looked great.
Yeah.
He
Dude, I swear to God, it's just another fucking punch in the face.
Yeah. Buccaneers overall looked pretty good. Commanders, a little bit of life on defense. They still definitely got things to figure out. And then on offense, the questions are going to be Jaden Daniels. How did he perform? The stat line doesn't look terrible, but if the eye test did not look great.
Yeah. So, and he was a little like almost kind of like the opposite of Caleb Williams. Like Caleb Williams' numbers didn't look real good, but he looks really kind of crisp at times, just ball sailed a little bit. And it feels like the opposite was here. Jaden Daniels put up decent numbers for a rookie in week 1, decent completion percentage, but he didn't necessarily look very comfortable doing it by any means. However, his legs are going to be a fucking problem.
Yeah, the guy looked like a wet paper towel out there. Doesn't weigh very much, and you're gonna go to the goal line and run him like that. Doesn't work the first time. Works the second time. That's cool, but the guy's not going to survive if that's how you're going to attack with him. He's got room to grow. There's some things that you like and things that you see, but he's got some room to grow. I have the Washington Commanders in my league projections figuring out to an extent and becoming a middle of the pack type of 500 record team, and I think that they could do that. It's going to be more towards the end of the year though, because they definitely have some maturing to do.
I had them a couple games under 500, I believe, with them getting better. Actually, I got it right here. I had them quite a few games under 500. Yeah. At 4-13.
And on the flip, here's look. I think that they definitely looked good. I'm not 100% convinced that they will be this strong. Right now, they definitely look like the powerhouse of NFC South. But they were going up against a Commanders team that is still figuring a lot of things out. I think much like with my Vikings game and whatnot, like you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. There are some very good things there. We know that they went to the playoffs last year, but I'm not 100% convinced yet that this is always sustainable just because of who they went up against. Baker, real good day, 4 touchdown day. Good plays from guys like Bucky Irving. I thought that he looked pretty good in the backfield out there. I kind of liked him a little bit better than Rachaad White. Some good things from that Buccaneer team.
Rashaad's going to be the guy that catches the ball out of the backfield. That's why you keep Rachaad White on your fantasy team, because he's a PPR nightmare.
We'll see.
Dude, he was awesome so now with the new back, maybe not, but last year he was fantastic for me.
Yeah, he was a pure volume guy, but he was one of the least efficient running backs out there who was getting high volume. Bucky, 9 carries, 62 yards, did good running the ball, and wasn't involved in the passing game. But in Oregon, he was a part of that passing game, a decent little receiving back. So if they start mixing him in there, he had 2 catches for 14 yards, but still, like you start mixing him in there more. If he starts taking away a little bit of the workload of what Rachaad White has, I think that he could start to surpass him by the end of the year.
I can see that, but you know what I was really excited about? Mike Evans is still a fucking dog. 2 tuds.
It's the 2 touchdowns. That's what kept him relevant there. Otherwise, he had the same stat line as Devontae, and we're being like,
2 tuds, baby.
You need to feed Devontae more.
Yeah, well, they need to feed Mike Evans more. Baker will throw him the ball. Baker's going to throw plenty of picks. He's going to throw. So
they also have better receiving options out there in Tampa than they do in Vegas, and so they're gonna spread the ball around more. You still have Godwin out there. You still have obviously Mike Evans. You can't just kind of be like, we got Devontae and this rookie tight end and a bunch of
Yeah.
other guys and expect to go. Shoot, Jalen McMillan had a catch for 32 yards and a touchdown, like rookie receiver out of Washington. They've got options there, a little bit more high profile options to spread the ball around. So that'll cut down on his numbers to an extent. But either way, it's you're gonna have those games from Mike Evans. It's gonna be 60 yards and nothing, and 60 yards and 2 tuds.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm counting on. Tuds.
All righty. Next up, we have our Sunday night game, Rams and Lions being played in Detroit. This one ended up going to overtime. Lions get that win 26-20. Matthew Stafford throws for that 317 yards, touchdown and interception. Jared Goff, 217 yards, a touchdown and interception. Good run day for David Montgomery. An okay run day for Jahmyr Gibbs, but Gibbs is more of that receiving back. I think that we aren't going to see as much of what we kind of expected of Gibbs, maybe taking a little bit more of that lead role. You're going to see a lot of Montgomery pounding the ball still.
Yeah.
And a lot closer to a 50-50 share. But the surprise there, kind of Jameson Williams in the pass game. Not what I expected, because he's always been viewed as that like deep speed threat. 5 catches, 121 yards and a touchdown and a rush. Good day from him. And then on the flip
he
side,
was the most targeted guy on that offense as well, which means they got to be thinking that we have got to find a way to get Jameson involved. Like and do, because they need his fucking speed. They need to get somebody over the top so they can let Amon-Ra underneath kind of go to work. And same thing with Sam Laporta. So if they can get him enough targets that people start paying attention, this offense is going to be a fucking problem, dude.
And this game was a fantasy killer for me, because Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 catches for 13 yards. That is not what we have historically seen from him, like ever. Like, he has to be injured to get that sort of low production. And I don't expect that to be the norm going forward. And then on the flip side, Puka Nacua for me goes down, re-aggravates that knee, put on IR. So he's out for 4 weeks here after 4 catches at 35 yards. But Cooper Kupp looks like himself. He looks like the guy that he was 2 years ago. 14 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. The beard's looking great. He looks back to like his old self. Kyron Williams is mixing in there a lot with Ronnie Rivers, more than I expected, even though only 2 carries for Rivers, but still, we didn't see any Corum in this game. I was expecting a 50-50 share.
No really?
Because that's just always what the Rams have been doing. They've never had a guy with this current coaching regime. And they view Corum a lot like Kyron. But overall, 2 good teams, a good game, goes down to the wire. Both teams not as efficient or effective as they could be or will be by the end of the year. This is another matchup that we could be seeing again playoff time.
Yeah, and if these teams are both healthy throughout the year, both these teams are going to put up big points. A lot of offense for these teams if you want fantasy guys. If you're looking for fantasy options still, you can find a way to pick one. I bet you Jameson Williams is available in quite a few leagues.
Yeah, probably.
So,
all right. And then that takes us to our Monday night game. Last night, we have the Jets and 49ers out there in California. And the game looked initially like it might be kind of close in the beginning. And then 49ers and Mason just kind of took off after that.
Yeah, Jordan Mason had a hell of a game, which was fantastic because he's never fucking playing again. Is he already playing again next week?
Apparently they're already talking about sitting Christian again next week.
Really?
Yeah. But yes, Jeff Mason did step on his crank after the game. McCaffrey game time decision, then ends up getting pulled before the game. And then when they asked Mason, did you find out you were starting? He was like, I found out Friday. And they're like, you bitch. Don't. But look,
say the fucking quiet part out loud.
Yeah, fantastic fucking game from him, though.
Dog. A guy that has never had that many carries in his life.
And the last time was in high school.
Big ass stage.
They brought it up. It was in high school years and years and years ago. And since then, never had that many carries, but fantastic production, fantastic day for Jordan Mason. You got to love it if you got him on your bench because you had a handcuff to Christian McCaffrey, or if you're Joe Kamai and you like to have 49ers on your team. Joe Rockstar definitely has Mason on his bench. So you can expect that he might be starting again this week if Mason is in fact going out there instead of Christian McCaffrey. And then on the flip side, Aaron Rodgers, what did you think of his performance?
So at moments that Aaron still looked like old Aaron, and at times Aaron did not look good at fucking all. I mean, he looked like
New Aaron.
kind of looked like new Aaron. Still has a ton of zip on the ball though, so I'll give him that. That arm strength has not gone away. But I believe that he's just not as quick on the trigger. Things are a little late. He's got a dog on the outside. He can throw it anywhere he wants to Garrett Wilson. And I believe that Garrett Wilson will probably fucking come down with it if it's a catchable ball. He's so good. So he's got dudes that he should throw the ball to that I believe that he trusts. Aaron will get better, but it was not a great performance, not a terrible performance. Misses for sure, but still manipulated the pocket well and still had zip on the ball.
I think this, and I'm obviously not a Rodgers fan. Zip on the ball, sure. Offensive game plan was terrible, and I still hate the kind of disgusting looks that Aaron throws around like this is everyone's fault but mine. He threw to 3 different targets. Like while he was in the game, he threw to Allen Lazard, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall. It wasn't until Tyrod Taylor came in that Braylon Allen and Tyler Conklin got balls thrown their way.
Look.
And for each of them, it was 3 total looks there. Otherwise, it was Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Allen Lazard. You've got to have some more diversity in your passing game. And Aaron was kind of known for that. Like you had Devontae, and you could always just throw it up to Devontae in Green Bay. But outside of that, he had like 4 other Jags out there that he could spread the ball around to, right? And he's not doing that here. That's, to me, it comes down to a game plan thing. Maybe not having the full comfort with those guys yet. Maybe some of them not being as comfortable with him because Lazard knows him and he's comfortable with that. Breece is going to get his work because he's an outstanding back. Shouldn't have fumbled that ball. And yeah, like he didn't look like anything spectacular, anything special there. The Jets are a very talented team as far as the players out there. And I think it was more or less the offensive game plan didn't keep them neck and neck in this game.
I would agree.
So Purdy should get some additional love. Always gets criticized for having all these weapons. Last night, no CMC. Ayuk played less than 50% of the snaps and did not look good doing it. Had a bunch of drop balls. And Debo, less than 75% of the snaps. Look, like it was Jordan Mason's game. Brock Purdy had himself a good game. He did exactly what he's supposed to do. 19 and 29, 231 yards, efficient passes, gets the balls out there to his targets. Like, they're a good team. And there's a reason why we got the 49ers winning so many fucking games this year. They're a good fucking team.
Yeah, they're really fucking good. They proved it. I think the Jets will be okay. I had them doing pretty decent this year.
I still have them as third in their division.
I have them third in their division as well, but the third in their division is 11-6. I think that division is going to be pretty good. Yeah, man. These fucking comments, man. I would love.
Yeah. He's taken a lot of people over to Sean right now, probably, including Jameis, which we didn't completely get into, but like I feel like Jameis is possibly the way to go. High variance play.
Yeah.
But he's going to put the ball down the field.
And that's the exact same guy, kind of like what we had last year with Flacco when this thing kind of started to work and kind of flow. High variance guy. He's going to throw picks, but he's also going to push the ball down the field. He's gonna get into some tight windows because James still has really good arm strength as well. I mean, he's thrown for 5,000 yards in this league, 30 touchdowns. But that same year, he's also threw 30 interceptions. I think Kevin Stefanski is a guy that could probably rein Jameis in a little bit because he's been so good with quarterbacks in the past that I think that Jameis is probably the way that we should go. And there's actually a lot of national media that was kind of in agreement with that as well. Dan Orlovsky, Greg Jennings. I don't think they're going to make the move. They may be forced to make the move. I don't think it is that far off, though. We have got to win, and we have got to do it. Like he has got to play well, or there will be no way to stop the people from just losing all faith in just dumping the fucking Browns. People won't go, man. If that's the shit that we have to see every week, they will not go. And Browns fans are loyal as all fuck. Shit, we'll go just so we can fucking boo them. Actually,
Yep.
Like it's.
I think you got to look at your offensive coordinator too, man.
Yeah, I don't. I was worried about this. I was in a space. I think I might have been BG's space on Twitter. And I said, listen, people who are concerned about who's calling plays and what's going to happen, I completely understand it because Kevin Stefanski's calling plays and it's not his playbook. He doesn't understand the nuances of this system yet. And it's very, very fucking apparent of that after Sunday's game. I don't know what we're going to do if he's going to relinquish play calling, if we're going to start to use some old Stefanski playbook shit where we're going to see 2, 3, 4 tight ends on the fucking field. But the shit that we rolled out last Sunday cannot be the shit that we roll out this upcoming Sunday because the Jags will smack us in the fucking mouth.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, look, we got 84 viewers in here right now. Super appreciate that. Super happy that you are joining us right now instead of watching the presidential debates going on. And I'm waiting for those numbers to be like, oh shit, and drop because they're all going to go flood to that. But thanks for sticking out with us.
You don't want to watch that as much as you want to watch.
Hold on. I'm going to replicate it here real quick. Mike, he's a big fucking pussy. Fucking terrible. Fucking and Mike, do your best Kamala.
Dude, I don't have one of those. You
have to go. The children of our future are our future children.
I have never. What the fuck was that?
That's Kamala.
Okay, I believe you. Yeah. I mean,
terrible candidates.
I'm not watching that shit. Fuck both of those two.
Billions and billions. All right, but we got one last thing to go over here in our show.
With the little thing though for Trump.
Anyways, if you want to get more politics, go to the No Sleeves Network. Check that out. We got another show called The Talk. There's a bunch of us grimy old veterans talking bullshit. That episode is going to be dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, it's actually very funny. I was talking about that with producer Amber. Tomorrow's September 11th. That episode's going to slap, considering the joke that's in there.
For sure. It's a good one to watch, but a good show all around. Please, if you are here watching, we would really love it if you would take some time, check out all of our channels that we have, everything that we got to offer to you. Maybe give us a quick like, share, and subscribe.
Hey.
That would be super appreciated. And then if you want to check out this QR code, you can check out the No Sleeves Network. The Lineman Lounge is presented by the No Sleeves Network. And we got a whole bunch of veteran-based content. We're a whole bunch of dummy thick veterans out there putting out some good stuff. We got Vanilla Gorilla doing food reviews. We got blogs. We got all sorts of content, video game channels. So please take just a couple seconds out of watching this video. Check us out. Give us a like, a subscribe. Show us a little bit of love. We really, really appreciate it. But the last thing that we kind of got to go over today, Thursday Night Football.
Hell yeah.
We're only a couple days away from more football, man. And we got the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. We get our lines off of FanDuel. Currently, it is Dolphins -2.5 at -115 odds, or the Bills +2.5 at -105 odds. Right now, 79% of the bets are on the Bills.
Where's the money
looking at those Bills?
Where's the money?
I don't know, because my site logged me the fuck out. I'll get back to you. Give me your thoughts.
Okay, so both these teams got clutch wins in week one. The offenses were kind of struggling for both. One team has an absolute fucking superhero on it in Josh Allen. And the other team has another fucking superhero in Tyreek Hill because he's fast as fuck. He's like the Flash, baby. But
82% of the money is on the Dolphins.
Okay.
79% of the bets, 82% of the money. And typically you want to follow the money.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't dropping points. I don't love against the Bills, but going down to Miami, I think these teams probably split. Each wins at home. The home field advantage, I think, is where we're probably seeing the points anyways. I'm going to take Miami minus 2.5.
All right. And I don't blame you. I'm going to take the Bills plus 2.5 here. You're supposed to follow the money. Fuck it. We're doing it live. We're doing backwards. I'm following where a majority of the bets are. I'm going to take those points. And see if Josh Allen can't put the team on his back. I'm still not convinced that Miami defense is, going to be perfect. Definitely not 100%. I didn't see enough offensive firepower out of that team. And coming on a short week here, big rivalry game. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I know at the end of the day, Josh Allen can put the team on his back. We saw that this last week. So guts telling me Bills plus the 2.5 here.
All right. There it is. That's our Thursday night game.
Yeah, just about lost AZ. If MHJ had gotten the ball a little bit more, very well could have. And yeah, distribute the ball around.
Well, yeah, to himself with his fucking legs.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's our show, Mike.
Hell yeah, man. Let's wrap this bad boy up. Guys, this is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That is Evo. If you want to follow or interact with the show, go to any of the places below. X, we're at Lineman Lounge. We have a Facebook group. TikTok, you can go at Lineman Lounge 2.0. If you wanted to call into the show, don't call now because phone lines are off. You can call 216-800-7223. Tell us your thoughts. Listen, you don't agree with us? Call in. Tell us you don't fucking agree. We'll tell you you're dumb.
Or make a burner account.
Or make a burner account. That's cool too. Either way, we appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight. We had a lot of people. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Anytime that you spend time with us, we cannot thank you enough. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So when you give it to us, we're forever appreciative. Last thing, go check out our YouTube. Hit the subscribe button for us. We'd really, really appreciate it. But with that, Evo, give the people one last word and get the fuck out of here.
Sam Darnold, week one's #1 quarterback. Who'd have thunk it?
All right. I'm Mike. That's Evo. We're getting the fuck out of here.